guys, this is RS Chaos Master Brian here, and for today's video, we're going to do a overview of my Dragon Ball series collection media overview. So before I start this is all going to be my personal opinion. So if I say anything you don't agree with, I apologize, but it's my opinion. And yeah, let's get this started. So, back in, I want to say, 2005? 2006? It finally became possible to own Dragon Ball Z in just one box set, you know. To own 39 episodes in a box set. This was unheard of for anime at the time. You would have to buy single volumes. And everyone finally thought it would finally be possible to own the series that we watched as a kid, how we watched it as a kid, how we remembered it as a kid. But there were problems, and oh boy were there problems with this set. Color saturation, cutting off the frames, just a lot of problems. But it was relatively cheap and had quite a bit of episodes, and you know what? It seemed like it might be the only way to own the series at the time, so of course I bought not just this one, but all 9 of them. And you know, it was take it or leave it. You either bought this or you bought all. I think at that point there was, oh my gosh, almost 100 single volume sets, and even they had problems like ghosting. So most people decide to buy these. I did have all 9 at one point. I now only have 1. And this was what was the start of my Dragon Ball media collection, besides a couple single volumes, which I no longer have. So, yeah. Then came the controversy, and oh boy was there controversy. Before this even finished, or maybe it was, no, it was right as this finished, they got the Dragon Ball Z Dragon Boxes. And at first, you know, listening to it, I'm like, why would I buy this? I already own this series. Yeah, okay, it's more Japanese. Okay, you claim it has better color. Okay, it comes with a book. But why would I buy this? Well, I decided to take a gamble. Not to mention I had a Right Stuff gift certificate at that point, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy the first one and just see what kind of difference there is between this and the season set. And it was mind-blowing. In fact, it was so mind-blowing that after watching this, I immediately started to sell off the season sets. And I sold them off so quickly that I managed to be able to buy, I think it was the first 3 volumes of the Dragon Box, which at that point was a big deal because these were $80 MSRP when they originally released. $80, which was a lot of money. And so, over time, I got the Dragon Boxes, but let's wait. Dragon Box Volume 4 came out, and then we'll put these to the side for a second. Then came an announcement that a lot of people were waiting for. Dragon Ball Z Kai. Why would someone buy the series again? You already own it on the Dragon Box. Well, let me just tell you that for English viewing dub fans, this was a huge deal 2009, they released the first volume of Dragon Ball Z Kai on Blu-ray. Not to mention it was on Blu-ray, which at the time this was the only way to own the series on Blu-ray. And it was just phenomenal. The dub was just so much better. The music just seemed to fit more. And it was just, it was phenomenal. So then, you started having to buy them both. Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4. And actually, the Dragon Box was kind of like put on hold for a little bit. I think when Volume 4 came out, then Dragon Box 5 came out. There was even speculation that it had been canceled, which would have been awful. But then you had Volume 5, Volume 6. And at that time, everyone knew that it only was going to go up to the Cell Saga because in Japan it had finished and, you know, it was only going to go up to the Cell Saga, which at that point in time, that was a big issue. Volume 6 of the Dragon Box. Volume 7 of the Dragon Box. And it took, I think, 7 or 8 months before Kai Part 8 came out. But that wasn't the end. Oh no, it was literally just the beginning. Because Funimation decided that while Dragon Ball Z Kai was going to go on, they were going to release the Dragon Ball series again, Dragon Ball Z, on Blu-ray. In what is known as the unfortunately failed level sets. Dragon Ball Z Level 1.1 and Dragon Ball Z Level 1.2. And they were absolutely fantastic looking sets. They were going to be relatively expensive, but for how they looked and how great they were, it easily justified the cost. And for someone that remembers old Toonami days, watching Dragon Ball Z on Toonami with the nostalgia of the Bruce Faulkner score, this was the easy solution. And at that point, I had already gotten rid of my season sets. So, yeah. It seemed like an easy solution. But the Dragon Ball franchise and Funimation didn't want to stop there. So, while this was all going on, they decided to release Dragon Ball in a set similar to the season sets. Dragon Ball Season 1. And it's an okay set. It's very similar to the Orange Brick, and not much else you can really say about it. Personally, I only have this so that I can have the first, I think, 13 episodes uncut, because the way I chose to own it is in the single volumes, which have like 13 episodes on each DVD. It's not as bad as the Z volumes, which only had 3 episodes. So, yeah, there was this. And so I owned Dragon Ball. But there was rumor that the Dragon Boxes were going to be coming out for Dragon Ball. And that was in everybody's mind. Was that going to happen? A lot of people wanted it to happen, including myself. But as time passed on, nothing was announced. So, going back to where we're at now. Unfortunately, these failed. These failed. Dragon Ball Z Kai had ended. The Dragon Boxes were done. It seemed like Dragon Ball was finally going to have a little bit of a lull and a break. But not with Funimation. Oh no. They decided to release the movie sets in slim packs like these. All like these. Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and that instead of the Dragon Boxes, which that was definitely disappointing that the Dragon Boxes never made it for the movie sets, but with the way they marketed them, they kind of limited their fan base and made it seem like it was specifically for the Japanese viewing people, which is not the case at all, but that's how they marketed it, so I think that affected it. And I also ended up getting, probably my favorite Dragon Ball movie, series, TV episode, special, whatever you want to call it. I ended up getting that on Blu-ray. And so, again, it seemed like Dragon Ball Z was going to get a little bit of a break. But that's when this came out. Dragon Ball Z Rock the Dragon Edition. And finally, we could own all of the Ocean dub in one set. And boy, was this amazing. I gotta give this to Funimation and hand this to Funimation. Fantastic job. So we'll put that over there. And at this point in time, I knew that I wanted to own the original Dragon Boxes someday. But the problem was how much they cost. And boy, did they cost a lot. So, as time went on, it seemed that maybe the Japanese Dragon Boxes would just not be a possibility because they were just too expensive on eBay and everything. And then Kanzenshu posted an article, how to own the Japanese Dragon Boxes relatively cheaply. I read the whole entire thing, and that's exactly what I did. So thank you, Kanzenshu. At that point, it was Daizenshui X. But now it's known as Kanzenshu. They posted how to own the Dragon Boxes cheaply. I read through the entire thing, and I waited till I had enough money. And then I got the Japanese Dragon Boxes, and these things are unbelievable compared to the US releases. Just the amount of effort and time they put into these are just mind-blowing. And it's crazy because for the most popular anime that's over in Japan, which is One Piece, they do not have anything like this at all. Nothing. Maybe someday they will. So, let's go back to English releases. Then, Funimation decided we're going to give Dragon Ball Z another chance on Blu-ray. So they did the season sets. And they're a lot like the Orange Bricks, but there are definitely some differences and some good things about them that are different. And for someone that likes the Faulkner score, had to buy them. So, you got all of Dragon Ball Z on Blu-ray. But still, the best way to watch Dragon Ball Z in English dub was still Dragon Ball Z Kai. And there was no indication that that was going to be coming out anytime soon. So we'll move over to here. Dragon Ball GT, the complete series. And this, in my opinion, is an abomination. It is absolutely terrible. It is a disgrace to the Dragon Ball series. But, right there, that's why I bought it. Dragon Ball. Not to mention, I got it for like $15. $15 for 64 episodes. Yeah, that right there tells you how bad it is. But, it was supposedly the conclusion to the Dragon Ball saga. And Dragon Ball Z ends on such a cliffhanger that you kind of have to go, okay, I guess it is going to be the conclusion to the Dragon Ball saga. And boy, was it terrible. So, we had that issue. Then, finally, there was indication that Dragon Ball Z Kai was going to be getting the Buu Saga dubbed. 2013, they announced that it was going to be dubbed, or not going to be dubbed, it was going to be released. 2014, it came out in Japan. And everybody was ready for the announcement, Dragon Ball Z Kai on Blu-ray. But instead we got something else. Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. And this was amazing. A new movie that picked up after the Buu Saga. And yeah, it was just great, guys. And then we got Resurrection of F, which was a sequel to Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods movie. But there was still no Kai. Still no Kai. 2017, or no, it would have been December 2016. Finally, they announced that Dragon Ball Z Kai is coming to Blu-ray for the Buu Saga. And guys, in my opinion, if you can only own the series once, this is how you want to own it. Right here. Just like this. And I would strongly suggest trying to get the parts and then the entire collection in parts, because the Yamamoto score is fantastic for the first 4 parts, and I feel like you really miss a lot if you don't get the Yamamoto score. But there was just still that sense of yearning for something, because this is, you know, my favorite series, and I really didn't like the way the GT ended off the series. It was just so horrendous and so terrible that it really affected Dragon Ball for me overall. And there was always this sense with Dragon Ball Z Kai, the final chapters of the Buu Saga, when they announced it in Japan, I'm like, maybe when they get done with it, they'll release a new Dragon Ball series. That is, if I could have made a wish to Shenron the Eternal Dragon, that would have been my wish. Please, give us a continuation after Dragon Ball Z that is not GT. And it seemed like it was a far out there wish. Yeah, right. Really? You really think after 19 years they're going to continue Dragon Ball? You're crazy. But sometimes that Eternal Dragon just hears your wish and he grants it. Now, I present to you Dragon Ball Super Part 1. And let me tell you guys, I don't care what you think of Dragon Ball Super, it kills Dragon Ball GT. Big time. So welcome to the unboxing of Dragon Ball Super Part 1. Let's get this plastic off. You got your discs. Oh, they put some art on them. You got Goku and Lord Beerus. And then if we take this out, the episodes are on the back. Okay. And, okay. Cover art. Not too much. Got a total of 13 episodes on 2 discs, along with a couple extra special features. They made a very nice looking cover. I guess all the covers are going to be like this. I can't wait till I see. Well, I don't want to say anything. That would be spoilers. But let me just say, once we get through the retellings of the movies, Dragon Ball Super is a way better series. So yeah, that is the overview of my Dragon Ball series media collection. Thumbs up if you liked the video, and if you guys are not subscribed, please subscribe. And also, there is that notification button. Make sure you click on that, because that is the only way you will be notified every time I post a video. And as I have said before, I don't have a set schedule on when I post videos, so that's kind of important if you guys want to watch my videos. But other than that, we'll talk to you later, YouTube. Thanks. Bye.